All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Why do people call you Mad Dog?
Mad Dog, because he's crazy, dude, behind the scenes. Doesn't come out often, man, but the kid's a bull.
My name's Mark Mennella. I'm the proud father of Brian Mennella. I do auto body for a living. I do water skiing with a chosen few friends as a hobby. Always loved it. Thank God my kids all love it the same as I do. That's about it, I guess.
We're gonna do the famous jump in.
I think for him, it actually, as far as I can remember, he kind of did, I think subconsciously did the same thing getting in and out of the water, whether it was the first ride of the season when the water was super cold. He would kind of stand on the back of the boat, dip his toes in the water, and, you know, always came out with some smart ass remark to the driver, and then would jump backwards into the water. And I think for years and years he would do the same thing, and he never realized it. And then you know, we started kind of calling him out on it, and I think now it's just, I think we would kind of be thrown off and upset if he didn't do it. And yeah, it's just kind of become a staple to, you know, the beginning of his runs.
Still got it, indeed.
Still felt good. I had him all the way till. Yeah, no, you angled it perfect. They weren't that bad.
Is it a weird like turf thing on the water?
Yeah, it is a little weird.
Usually among skiers, it's a respect thing.
He's a character. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth or what he's going to say, so you got to be leery of that. And when you introduce people to him, you got to warn them of that also, because you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. But I mean, it's all in fun. It's all good.
You definitely lost some weight.
I've been working out. I worked out hard the other morning.
So one day.
No,
So
I didn't even work. I did a couple of air squats and some leg curls.
One
and
day in
legs.
a workout.
I'm not going to tell you. I mean, it felt like 3 days in a row. It was probably more like.
I'm gonna go downstairs. I was like, I'll go downstairs.
Probably more like 3 minutes in a row.
I was like, I'll go down. I'm gonna go downstairs, do a quick workout, because I don't want to not work out this week. And he's like, oh, what are you doing, legs? I'll come with you. I can't do much, but he does like a few air squats, then he goes upstairs. Then he comes back down.
Can't do much.
I went upstairs to get more weight.
What was that? A donut?
No. I swear to God, I went upstairs to get more weight. This is a smudge. A small to a large, I think, Charlie. That's why I have trouble getting it on.
Is that what the X means?
Oh, years ago, my father passed away, and I purchased his boat, which was an 18-foot aluminum boat, and I would drag my wife out to pull me skiing with 2 little kids. And then somebody told me about Long Pond Water Ski Club, and I said, oh, okay. Went down there to try it out, and that's where I met Mark. He was the president of the Long Pond Water Ski Club.
I actually met Mark when I just got out of high school. He actually just graduated, and we were going to a football game, and he was friends with somebody that my family was friends with, and I met him there. We were actually totally different, but I think that's what kind of drew us together, is because we were totally different and we both liked the way the other person was. And yeah, we dated for a long time and then ended up getting married. He tried to get me to learn to ski and stuff, and I did. I'm not as much as, I love being on the water, out on the boat. I would do that all day long. As far as getting in the water, I'm not as into it as they are. But all other aspects of it, watching them, being in the boat and stuff, I loved.
40-41.
I'm not gonna go the whole length. This is my first time. My feet will be done.
Are you in Mennella? Are you serious? I mean, it's not like it's Winnipesaukee very long. Come on now.
Those are the
That's
kind of
long
words
for
I
me.
want to hear, Charlie. Words of encouragement.
Hey, go this way.
Yeah, go from side to side.
Yeah.
You go this side.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, all right.
But
I'm looking in the mirror. That's fine.
Yeah, catch a toe in this water. That was fun. My dad was always, he loved boating. He wasn't really as into water skiing that much, but he knew that I wanted to be. So I was probably 8, 9 years old. He tossed me out of the boat, taught me how to swim, and then put me in the water. I just started skiing, and I did slalom skiing. Didn't do much for 2 skis, went right to slalom skiing, and then I wanted to learn how to barefoot because I seen somebody on the lake trying to barefoot, and basically it wasn't pretty. I didn't know what speed to go. I didn't know. I tried different boats. You know, it was a learning experience, but and once I started barefooting, I just fell in love with it, and then tried everything that had to do with water. I tried, and been doing the same ever since. And that's, I made my kids did the same. You know what I mean? Sometimes they didn't always like it, but most of the time they loved it. You know.
I joined the water ski club. I was about, maybe I was about 28, 30 years old at that time. And we started doing all kinds, he started teaching everybody all kinds of tricks for the show. So that's how I met him, and he was barefooting, and I wanted to learn how to do it. And everybody was kind of still learning how to barefoot, and as Mark said prior, it was a guess on speed, and there were a lot of crashes in the beginning of that barefooting. But in meeting Mark, he had the passion for skiing as much as I did, so we just kind of bonded. Just had a same passion.
When my kids were born, he always hoped that at least one of them would be as much into water sports as he was.
He started me when I was very, very young. I think he was pretty hopeful that, as soon as I was born, that I was gonna love it and be as passionate as he was. I don't think he was hopeful, but I don't think he expected me to be as passionate, if not more passionate than he is about the industry and water sports in general.
I think he was probably 2 years old, and I put him on a pair of beginner skis and or trainer skis, and we went to take off. He kind of went underwater because the gentleman holding him had a bad back, and he let him go too soon. He went under the water, so I had to kind of start all over again, get him used to going under the water and stuff like that. But he was like every normal kid. He cried a little bit at first, but luckily I had 2 kids, and my daughter wasn't as enthusiastic as he was, and he picked it up and he wanted to do it more. He wanted to try everything. So I would say he was 3-4 years old and he was off to the races. I would pull him on his wakeboard when he was 5, and he would just go. I'd have to stop the boat to see if he was tired. He would just never let go, and he's loved it ever since. He foots. He does everything better than me, but he foots. He air chairs. He slaloms. We skied on a. I told him one time that I used to ski on a canoe paddle. He didn't believe me, so we get out and he picks the smallest canoe paddle you could possibly imagine, but we still went out and played on it and had fun. And we've skied on a little tray that you pull out of McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? We've done it all. You know what I'm saying? But I guess the original question was how he was probably 3-4 years old when I knew that he was going to love it, and he loves it.
Hey, what you need, yeah? Man, I got it, wow. What you say, hey? We about it, get the cream, yeah. Why you slacking? Why you talking all the top, boy, you capping? What you need, hey? Yeah, I got it, with the team, yeah. We about it, wow. Get the cream, yeah. Why you slacking?
I was about 2-3 years old when I first got on a pair of water skis, and I think at that age I loved it because he loved it. I think it was a little bit later on in life. I was probably about 6-7 years old when I first strapped on a wakeboard, and at that time they didn't have little kids wakeboards, so I actually had to use an adult wakeboard with the boots up to my knees and everything. And shortly after that I started competing at about 8 years old. Went to nationals for my age group, and ended up winning nationals at 8 years old. And I think after that it kind of propelled me into mostly wakeboarding and loving all the other water sports.
Way back in the day when he was first starting out, they had what they call the INT, and it's an international novice tour. People that are just starting out, they get a chance to compete and stuff like that. But I always was able to ride in the boat, more of what he was used to. And then it got to a point where I couldn't ride in the boat anymore.
Competing has kind of meant different things over the years. It definitely started out in the INT divisions. When I was a young kid, I competed from about the age of 8 to about 13, I started competing in kind of the novice divisions around 8 years old, went to nationals and everything.
I have known Brian since he was a little kid. Just when I see the kid out there wakeboarding and how good he is, and the tricks he does, it's just amazing. It truly is. I mean, when he started doing wakeboarding, my God. Whenever he was around the house and I had guests, I'd put him out there wakeboarding to show him off. The kid was just amazing, and he's just a little kid. He's hitting heights of like 16 feet in the air, wakeboarding. It's like, how the hell is he doing that? I mean, I was glad he was competing. I think he wakeboards better than he walks on land. I mean, you just saw him trip up the stairs. He doesn't do that wakeboarding.
Brian and I have been friends for a long time now. We met back in the day doing some local wakeboard competitions such as INT. We formed a pretty good relationship, and he's been kind of my riding buddy for years now. So I've been basically the last wakeboarders here up in New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
So you feel it in the knees?
Yeah, I had a little bit of an injury a couple of years ago.
From wakeboarding?
Yeah. So brace is a must. What is this, 22? What are you at for this?
I rode 22.2 and 22.4.
Let's try 22.2 first.
Sorry, it's a hyperlight hit.
Oh, it's all good, dude. God, beggars can't be choosers, man. I woke up and I'm like, how am I gonna get my jacket and my rope from the boat up north all the way down here? I go, I'll just take Brian's stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Water's warm.
Probably definitely warmer than up north.
Brian's always been an incredible rider, man. It's so fun watching him. He has great style. He's so smooth. But throughout the years, man, his progression throughout the sport it's just been incredible.
We, at the end of the season, started entering him into some tournaments because he wanted to. And he ended up winning and getting the rights to go to the regionals and nationals at 8 years old. And he didn't even compete the whole season, so I was very surprised at that. He had actually, I think, only done 2 or 3 tournaments, but because he did so well, it made him the top runner to go to those regionals and the nationals. And he actually was in National Geographic when he was 8 years old, from a picture that they had taken, and they interviewed him and stuff because he was doing so well at such a young age.
Then I ended up progressing, and around 12, 13 years old, I moved into to kind of the semi-pro division, the highest division you could in that. And I had tons of fun with it, but the downside to that as I got older and around 12, 13 years old is competing against kids that were, in their 20s, 30s, and they weren't very happy that a 13-year-old was as good, if not better than them at the time. So
the whole time he was competing, his father's last words were always, go out there and have fun.
I think he was so good at competing because it was still fun. You know what I mean? And that was the biggest thing to me, that he didn't lose the fun of the sport.
He's an absolute ripper. He has fun. That's the best thing. We always try to have a good time.
We never tried to make it a competitive thing, like you got to win. It's just go out there and have fun.
I think there's a lot of outside factors that have kind of played into where I ended up in the industry and in water sports in general. Growing up in the Northeast, you have a very, very short summer, so I was able to kind of wakeboard and barefoot and kneeboard and do all the water sports for a very short time. Normally kind of 3-4 months. You know, we would get out there early if we could in the season and as late as we possibly could. I think, you know, a difficult situation for myself and for, you know, my father and kind of everyone that we skied with, you know, is to be so passionate about something and having, you know, I guess Mother Nature kind of tell you when you can start and stop. For me, when it came to wakeboarding and competing and trying to, I guess, make a career or, you know, kind of continue on with it, it was tough competing and rival other riders that were doing this year round. I would kind of only be able to wakeboard 3-4 months out of the year and then on top of that only get out there and maybe ride a couple times a week, and then I'd go compete against kids that would be able to ride year round and ride 2-3 times a day.
He was competing against kids that were a lot older than him, probably in their, you know, 18 to early 20s, and he was like 11 to 13, and like he had mentioned, they weren't really receptive to some little kid beating them, and he was young and he didn't understand, you know, like why are they mad at me type attitude, and you know, when it wasn't that at all, you know, and that was tough for me to see him have to go through that.
Around 13 years old is when I decided to kind of get out of competing and just kind of go back to my home lake and kind of free ride as much as I possibly could and just go back to my roots, if you will, and just try to have as much fun as I possibly could with it.
I would say that would be the defining moment.
I am David Lee. I have been working with Northeast Passage for 22 years. I've kind of done every role that we've had in this organization. Northeast Passage is an adaptive sports and recreation program. We're all therapeutic recreation specialists, and we work with people with disabilities to get them back out involved in recreation and activities that they used to be involved with, or they've always wanted to be involved with but haven't been able to do due to their disability or lack of knowledge of what's out there. I've been water skiing since I was 10, 11, so naturally when we were able to offer water skiing here, I was able to jump right in and be like, this is great. You know, we've been involved with Brian and Mark from the beginning. I mean, when we started in '96, Brian was a little kid, you know, just wanting to be on the boat with his dad, and yeah, it was him and his buddies. They were at they were part of a ski club, and they got together all the time at a lake in Tingsboro. So there was a group of them. They're like, who can drive tonight? Who can drive next week? And they kind of traded off, but Mark was always there. And then when they were moving and they were looking at a house on a lake, they're like, we gotta find a place that works for you guys because we wanna keep doing this and we want you to be part of it. So when they moved to Merrimack and you know, they're like, we got a great place, you know, it's like, we gotta change some things, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make a ramp for you guys. So when you guys come over and we water ski, it's gonna be more accessible and all that stuff. So they kind of changed their waterfront of their new house to make it accessible so we could continue to water ski with them.
Probably 23, 24 years ago, we got the gentleman I used to buy my boats from approached me with this opportunity, and back in the day there was me and a couple other guys that were going to do it. So it was 6 times during the summer, and it was with the handicap water skiing and stuff like that. My other 2 buddies had a falling out, so I was fortunate enough to be able to do all 6 nights, and I've been doing it since then. We started out doing it back at Long Pond at out of the fleur-de-lis, and then we moved to the Foley's house, and then from there then I moved up here. My wife, it took some time to it took almost a year before we got permission to use a jet ski, and there's no jet skis allowed here. So, you know, we had to get some special permits and stuff like that, and it's been, I mean, except for covert, it's the last 2 years they haven't been able to do it, but I'm sure it'll start back up. But it's been going strong, and it's nice because it's my place, my boat. So I make the rules. Whoever wants to go in the boat goes in the boat. Half the time they're driving the boat. The first time that I did it, absolutely, that's all it took. The people just, they touch your heart the minute you meet them. You know what I'm saying? And it's I thought I would, you know, you think you're gonna be able to deal with it, but you laugh, you cry. It's the greatest feeling that I mean, obviously there've been other, but the feeling once you meet these people and you see the gratification and how happy they are about what you do for them, they don't even realize what they're doing for you. You know what I'm saying? But it's probably, besides my kids being born, probably the second most rewarding thing that I've ever done, without a doubt.
I think when I was younger, I was very young, probably less than 10 years old when my father first volunteered and started driving and teaching the Northeast Passage crew. So I think at a very young age, I had a lot of fun with it, but I think I didn't fully realize, you know, what it meant to both my father, my family, and to also, you know, all the Northeast Passage members, from the volunteers to the actual skiers themselves. As I grew older, you know, just like my father, I fell in love and, you know, became as involved as I possibly could, whether it was just helping out in the boat, helping out on land, you know, trying to teach them any way that I possibly could. So it definitely brought a different aspect to the sport of water sports, to kind of see it from a different angle, where I was, you know, I was able to my whole life kind of do what I wanted to in the water sports, and then here I am meeting people that don't have the same opportunities that I've had, and, you know, are able to, through us, get out on the water, get out on, even if it's just a boat ride or a tube ride, or get out on the handicap ski. They were able to kind of, you know, break out of their comfort zone and have tons of fun out on the water. So it was great to see. You know, obviously I had tons of fun and passion for water sports, but you definitely got to see it from a different angle.
I mean, he loves it. Him and his wife truly love it. Even Brian's been out there with them. I've seen some videos of Brian with the kids, and it's just, it does bring tears to your eyes to see these kids and adults, you know, what they're able to do because of the help that they're getting. I mean, Brian was out there kneeboarding with a kid that, you know, had some challenges, and the smile on that kid's face while Brian's out there with him, oh, it was just incredible to see that kid be that happy out there.
It was amazing. I mean, it's something you have to experience to see, because we've been doing this for over 20 years, and Mark started out, like you said, in Long Pond, and then we moved up here. It became more of a family type thing because it was on our own property and stuff like that. And, you know, we'd set up the yard, put out chairs, do all that, get all set up for, you know, we wanted family members to come and watch them, you know, to make it more of a, you know, a family event. And, you know, I would have, you know, cook dinner for all the volunteers and the workers of Northeast Passage afterwards, and Mark and Brian would be out here just teaching them. But it's just amazing to see these people who have overcome the obstacles that they were dealt with and just come out here and skied on their little adaptive water ski or whatever. And they just have such a good outlook on it that I'm not so sure that I could have such a great outlook as they do. And they're just all such great people.
You know, as we've progressed through the years, it was always like they're both very much, how can I help? How can we do this better? And just amazing teachers. They have great patience and great tips and, you know, great personalities that the participants, you know, really, it works really well for them. And you know, they're like, wow, I love going to Merrimack because, you know, Mark's down there teaching, or Brian's, you know, jumping in the water with us and, you know, not afraid to get his hands dirty kind of thing. And yeah, it's just been, you know, great all the way through. For them to be able to offer their property, their boat, you know, their time to do something like this, it's invaluable for us. We couldn't run a program like water skiing without that support. We don't have the financial means to have a boat, you know, and maintain it and do all that stuff as a nonprofit. So we know some of their background, and you know, we'd call up the Mennellas and be like, hey, is Brian available? We got a kid that, you know, possibly can wakeboard standing up. If not, probably can kneeboard. And just having, you know, a younger instructor was great for us to kind of be able to offer, you know. And Brian was always like, drop everything, I'm there. And yeah, he'd come right out and, you know, like I said, he'd be out in the water with us. Typically when we have somebody ski, they're by themselves behind the boat. You know, once we get them going, they're 75 feet behind the boat. You know, Brian would jump out and, you know, have a kid on a kneeboard, and he'd jump on a kneeboard next to them and be able to instruct while they're learning. He's next to them instructing while they're going, and you know, that was pretty cool to have, you know, a complete beginner and somebody that's very well experienced.
It's definitely not a one-person situation. You know, I can't go out there, I can't drive the boat, I can't get things ready by myself. So it would definitely be a boring sport if you didn't have others around you that, you know, were passionate, as passionate as you are and as willing to help you out and succeed. And that's what's been great about this industry, and I think that's why I continue to love it and stay in it, and you know, want to build my career around this industry, is just because, you know, you're able to share the love, but everybody that has the same passion you do not only wants to continue on and succeed themselves, but they want to see others around them succeed just as much.
Yeah, I would say with Brian's experience and working with us in the past, keep doing it. I think he's got a lot of information to share with people, and that expertise and passion that he has, you know, makes the experience for other people really powerful.
I ended up kind of getting away from it for a little bit as far as competition wise, and that's when I kind of propelled more into sharing my love for the sport, and I tried to teach and get as many people as I possibly could out here.
I've stayed in this program for as long as I have, just because it's super fun, it's super rewarding. I get to share my passions with the people I work with. You know, I can take the sports that I love and offer those to everyone else.
It's just when we're out there, we're just there to have fun, push each other. It doesn't matter who's better than who. You know, we want to see each and every person, whether it's their first time or their millionth time. We just want to see them succeed and have tons of fun with it. You know, I consider it a success if I can just reach as many people as I possibly can and share my knowledge, whether it's, you know, from driving the boat, you know, docking a boat, to all different water sports, barefooting, wakeboarding, wake surfing, just trying to, you know, share as much passion and love for the sport as I can, and also trying to teach, you know, people as much as I possibly can from the knowledge that I've gained over the years, so that they can enjoy it as much as I do, because it's very easy to, get out there, and if you don't know much, have a bad experience. And that's what I'm trying to kind of take away, is people having a bad experience. I would love for as many people to get out there and just have the best experience they possibly could.
Hopefully, if something ever happens to me, that my son takes it over. That's how much I love it.
If you haven't tried water sports, try it. It's a lot of fun. You don't need to be, a big water person or anything, because like I said, I am not. But there's nothing more fun than, riding around in the boat and being in the sun, the fresh air, and, watching your family enjoy themselves so much. And it just brings people together, family and friends. We have friends that have been lifelong through this. No matter where we move to, we still, like Charlie and Mark have known each other well over 30 years before we were even married. And Charlie lives in Wolfboro, New Hampshire, and he drives an hour and a half just to come down here to ski with him. It's just something that it's a bond, and it's really nice that it just brings the people together.
It's a time for me just to kind of relax and not have any worries. That's the biggest thing. There's such a small time to be able to do this sport. When by the time the ice clears and by the time the cold weather comes, you only get so many days on the board. And when you do, it's you try making the best out of it. And when I'm out there, all my worries are aside. You know what I mean? It's you don't have to worry about family, you don't have to worry about work or what you're doing the next day, or the bills that you got to pay. It's just it's a time to enjoy yourself and do something that you love and that you're so passionate about. And it's just being able to know that you can still do what you did 10 years ago is a great feeling. Especially being able to do it with people that are just as passionate as you are about the sport makes it just such an entertaining time.
Doesn't matter how bad of a day you had, how bad of a week you had. When you get on the water, the best way to explain it is just watch my buddy Charlie ski, and all you see is teeth. He's just happy. It's that feeling that, I think that's why we get along so good, because he feels it like I feel it. When I get on the water, whether I have a bad day skiing, I don't even know if there is a bad day skiing, you know what I'm saying? It's footing, whatever. It's just, you're close to the water, it's fast paced, so when you're done, that excitement is, I don't know, it's just hard to explain. It just feels good.
I love it. I love being on the water. The more time I'm on the water, the better off I am. And I got to be honest, I come from Wolfboro down here to barefoot with this character being Mark. So I drive quite a ways down just to barefoot with him because I have such a good time footing with him.
It's funny because I definitely do, half of what I used to be able to do, and I understand moving forward as I get older, and you might spend less time on the water and do less tricks, but I think the love that I have for water sports has actually grown greater as I grow older and move forward, and that's just due to the people I have around me. My father, Charlie, friends in the industry, kids that I ride with. It's just, as we get older, we might not be able to do the same stuff. It's just the love is still there for the industry and for water sports.
I'd say the last 5 years or so, we've probably rode the most together, and just seeing him every week progress and learn new tricks it's just been incredible. So he's at the top of his game, and he's still committed to the sport, and I know he loves it a lot. So I know as we go on, he's going to continue to become a better rider throughout the years. Just continue what you're doing. Don't change, man. You're so humble and you're confident and you enjoy the sport and you love it no matter what kind of day it is, whether you're riding good or bad. I think that's a huge thing to take away too, People try to use it too much as a sport or as a career, and that's where you kind of lose focus of why you actually do it. And with him, I mean, he's just so positive. It's so nice to be around, There's not many riders out there that really love something and can take it day by day and just enjoy the process, and that's a huge thing. Once you start getting upset or you don't think you have it anymore, that's kind of where the sport goes downhill. So he's been someone that's just continued to love it, to be committed to it, and someone that just wants to continue to learn, which is great. So it's always nice and it's an awesome pleasure to be around him.
The same thing that I tell him all the time is, you know, you never quit, and he doesn't quit. He just give it everything you got, no matter what you're doing. My dad used to say to me, if you want to be a toilet cleaner, be the best toilet cleaner you can be. You know what I'm saying? I say that, and I pass that on to him. Whatever you're going to be in life, you put your heart into it, and I couldn't be more proud. You know what I'm saying? It just, you don't know what you're going to get when you have kids. You don't know where they're going to go, but I couldn't be more proud. So he's doing, I don't even know what I could tell him that he isn't already doing, you know what I mean? Or trying, so.
I would tell Brian, follow his dreams, and whatever he's doing, make sure he's having fun. And as Mark said, whatever he's doing, make sure he does it the best.
I just hope that he just continues doing what he loves and what makes him happy. And I hope he just continues that with his life. And it has, like, my daughter has 2 little girls, and he coming home this past week, he just took her out on the kneeboard with him, and I'm sure it'll continue. He will have children, and, you know, hopefully the legend will live on, you know.
I think what's next for me is watching my kids teach their kids, you know what I mean? And being able to drive the other day, Brian took my granddaughter on the kneeboard. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that means a lot. So I think that's it. I mean, I'm gonna try to stay on the water for as long as I can. I might not be able to do the things I want to do. I joke and say to my wife, if something happens to me and I'm near my last breath, put my barefoot suit on and bring me out into the water, you know what I mean? But no, I'll do it as long as I can do it.
I think I could take moments in time and you know, probably pull out hundreds of different times where, you know, it was just kind of surreal moments where you realized, you know, the type of parents you have, how fortunate you are, and you know, just what you can share in the friendship that you're able to have with your own father through water sports. You know, from the time I was 5 years old and he was teaching me to barefoot, all the way through every wakeboard competition, every moment I was out there wakeboarding, he was right there, whether it was running up and down the shoreline, following the boat, right in the boat, you know, cheering me on and telling me what tricks to do next if I forgot. He's just, I guess, I mean, it's just been every moment has been the greatest, because it's just, he's, you know, between my mother, my sister, my father, you know, my family, they've been there since day one, and it's definitely been the best and the greatest part of all of this.
I do want to let you know about a fun time I had with Mark one day, because Mark does not like to be beaten. So one day I said to him, let's go footing like the old timers did, without a barefoot suit, without any suit. And he took me on the challenge. However, I cheated. I put on a barefoot shorties, and I was in the water before he got in the water. So he jumped in the water with just his bathing suit. And I said, okay, let's go. And we had a barefoot without any barefoot suit, but just a life jacket, and Mark just had his bathing suit on. I had the barefoot shorty, so I had protection, and we went. Mark then saw me in my shorties, because he was in a lot of pain, because it's an instant enema, and he looked over at me, but I will not say the words that he used, that he called me. Then when we came in, he ran to the bathroom as fast as he could, because he had to go. And my son came out of the bathroom and said, Dad, why is Mark cursing and swearing your name? I have to say, that was a great time, and I will always remember that.